Okay, we are rolling. Champions of Champions Boxing Talk is back, brother. Right, this is the analysis of the Manny Pacquiao Adrian Broner fight at the weekend and possibly a little discussion about the future and what's next for Pacquiao and a little bit for Broner. First of all, we want to wish Manny Pacquiao a speedy recovery. There are a lot of rumours saying he's sustained an eye injury. Let's hope that everything is okay there and he gets back to full health quickly. He also suffered, I think, a cold during the last few days before the fight and during the fight itself. You could see in the post-fight press conference that he was a little bit under the weather. So when you consider all that, you know, this was actually a good performance. Let's just be absolutely honest. A lot of people are comparing, obviously, and it's natural, the performance of Mikey Garcia, Chino Maidana, and Sean Porter. What you have to realise is when those guys fought Adrian Broner, they were primed. You know, Mikey Garcia right now is a pound-for-pound top 5. Sean Porter is top 3 or 4 welterweight in the world. He'll never be better than what he is right now, possibly. Chino Maidana, that was the highlight of his life when he won that title. Look at the celebrations in the ring when he beat Broner. So, boxing for me is about an all-round game, right? Chino Maidana, let's be honest, he beat Broner. He was the massive underdog against Broner. But Broner got his shots in that fight. Do you know, Chino Maidana was hit 149 times against Adrian the Problem Broner. Adrian Broner was able to throw 400 punches, right? I know that's not massively high, but for Adrian Broner, that's like 1,000 punches a fight. Mikey Garcia, Adrian Broner threw the same amount of punches. Landed 125 punches on Mikey Garcia, AB did. And Mikey Garcia is currently, as I said, a pound-for-pound fighter. Sean Porter. What happened with Sean Porter in the final round? He was dropped, wasn't he? None of these things happened to Manny Pacquiao. Do you know how many shots Adrian Broner landed on Manny Pacquiao this weekend? 50 throughout the whole fight. Only a third of what Adrian Broner landed on Marcus Maidana did he land on Manny Pacquiao. He landed over twice as many punches on King Mikey Garcia than he did on Manny Pacquiao. And of course, did Manny Pacquiao ever look like being dropped in this fight like Sean Porter did? No. So that's stout. Keep that in mind. If you're a boxing fan, you also think defense as well as offense. What does that tell us? It tells us that maybe even this version of Manny Pacquiao is a better rounded boxer than all of those guys put together. Well, not put together, but you know what I'm saying. He's a better all-round boxer. I mean, it's staggering. I mean, Manny Pacquiao considered a better defensive fighter than Mikey Garcia. All right, Sean Porter and Chino, you sort of expect those numbers. But all in all, I think this was the most, looking at it from a boxing analysis point of view, because I'm not just one of the guys that looks at one facet of the sport. I have to look at all facets. But looking at the all-roundness of that fight, that is the most complete beating of Adrian Broner there is. I know Chino Maidana floored him and all of that stuff, but Adrian Broner was in the pocket at times, throwing punches at Chino Maidana. So Chino Maidana was able to land those power shots. From the very get-go, Adrian Broner felt something early against Manny Pacquiao called the left hand. Right? From then on, he was on that bicycle all night long. And you know Adrian Broner usually hangs around ropes. Only a couple of times in that fight did he actually hang around ropes. 7 and 9. Those were the rounds. And you know something? He got nearly obliterated in them rounds when he was there. Adrian Broner, I think, was shocked by the hand speed of Manny Pacquiao. He knew it was there, but you see, it's one thing, you know, watching it on a TV screen, examining it on analysis videos in training camp. When you receive it in the ring, though, it can be a whole different ball game. And Adrian Broner is a guy who's considered pretty fast. But his upper body movement, in terms of head movement and all that stuff, could just not cope with another shot of Manny Pacquiao. They all said, didn't they, in Camp Broner, that he always does well with southpaws. What did Manny Pacquiao do? Primarily, he operated big time with that right hand. The jab, time and time again, was landing on Adrian Broner. It was keeping Adrian Broner kind of blinded. And Adrian Broner was expecting the left upstairs. But what was Manny Pacquiao doing as the fight wore on? He was nailing him with a left down to the body, just as I saw in his training footage with Freddie Roach on the pads. And at first, Manny Pacquiao was throwing the right hook to the body. But I think that was to throw Adrian Broner off, whose team would have been watching. One punch in particular to the body, Adrian Broner, who is, let's face it, a very durable fighter. This is one of his strengths, his toughness. He nearly knelt over. You see it in slow motion. When Pacquiao landed that body shot, he nearly knelt over and looked as though he squinted in a bit of pain for a second. But Adrian Broner, when he's hurt, is great at performing that he's not hurt, if that makes sense. The start from Pacquiao looked, you know, kind of rushed. It looked like he looked eager to sort of make a statement and drop Adrian Broner early. And some people were saying, oh, AB looked good in those early rounds. He was losing them early rounds, even when Pacquiao was being kind of, you know, faultless in his attempt, just going in there and bulldozing in the first 2 rounds. Boo Boy Fernandez gave Manny some excellent advice. Just be you. Settle down, set things up, and it will happen from there. Because Manny Pacquiao is sort of that much of a legendary fighter. He doesn't have to do a Sean Porter impression. He doesn't have to do a Chino Madonna impression. He just has to be himself, and he's got more than enough. Again, the technicianship, the boxing skills. He outboxed Broner. People said about, oh, Broner's a great counterpuncher, Broner's this, Broner's that. Pacquiao had Broner beat in all areas. And as I said, when Broner did land, which was not very frequent, right, I'm thinking them 50 punches are kind of generous, right? They didn't really bother Manny Pacquiao. There was no sense in that fight, oh, he's buzzed. Not at all. But Adrian Broner was shaken. He admitted it in the post-fight press conference. He was shaking in the 7th round and 9th round. That left hand that sent him across the ring when that was landed. People say, oh, is the pop of Manny Pacquiao gone? You have to understand, and I actually did predict a unanimous decision, Adrian Broner's biggest strength is his chin. That's what he's basically got when he steps up to elite level. Against a fighter with lesser chin, the person may have been dropped there. Let's just put that into the equation. Pacquiao's head movement was throwing Adrian Broner off. He didn't know, with a combination of the head movement, the foot speed, and the high guard was catching Adrian Broner's snappy jab time and time again. Those things were throwing Adrian Broner off big style. You know, and when a fight is at a distance and considered to be a chess match, Apparently, according to many people, that is Adrian Broner's strength, the chess match. Well, he was losing the chess match. And the punching match. And all the style matches in the ring you could think of. And every time Adrian Broner did try to put a combination together, and there weren't many, only 200 and something apparently, shots thrown from AB throughout the whole fight, Pacquiao was darting off quickly around the other side of the ring, and Adrian Broner looked like he was shadow boxing. He threw a combination, he was throwing combinations at thin air. So when people say, these are two key points now, when people say he should let his hands go more, where's he going to let them hands go if there's no target? In thin air. You know, he doesn't have the footwork to chase Manny down and has no intention to. For another reason, if Manny still is in the pocket and Adrian Broner throws, who's more likely to be beaten to the punch? Right? Manny will beat Adrian Broner to the punch. And if Adrian Broner does get reckless, we saw enough evidence from round 7 and 9 that Manny Pacquiao would, potentially drop Adrian Broner. If Adrian Broner kept throwing, Manny would take him out, no matter how good that chin is. You can't leave yourself exposed like that. Should he have gone for broke maybe late on Adrian Broner? Yes, then. But that's not his style. We all knew this. You see, everybody in the build-up to this fight was making out that Adrian Broner could be a combination of Jeff Horn and Floyd Mayweather. Really, he's not neither. Let's just be honest with you, right? Jeff Horn lost, but many, Teddy Atlas included, thought he lost, but give him, a pat on the back for a good effort. Adrian Broner does not have the style to throw Manny Pacquiao around that ring. He doesn't have the size and the strength and all of that stuff. The dirty antics, the physicality, the work rate of a Jeff Horn. The footwork, he doesn't. Two different complete fighters. I said that about the Lucas Matisse fight as well when everybody was saying, well, if he struggled with Jeff Horn, Lucas Matisse will get him. No. Different ball game altogether. Styles make fights. Remember that one, folks. So, with that being said, he was a lot easier to hit than Floyd Mayweather. Manny Pacquiao threw 568 punches. He couldn't throw that amount of volume against Floyd Mayweather. He could against Adrian Broner. That tells you again, stylistically, he's nothing like Floyd. Where did the judges come up with giving Adrian Broner 4 rounds? 2 of the judges give Adrian Broner 4 rounds. One of them give him 3. Huh? Do you know, I actually gave Adrian Broner the ring walk. Does that count? I give Adrian Broner the ring walk. Maybe 1 round, and I'm struggling to remember what it was. Right? I think it was round 4. Just about scraped it. Of course, Dan Rayfield of ESPN even gave that round to Manny Pacquiao. And to be honest, I can't really argue with him. But I just sort of leaned maybe slightly to Adrian Broner on that one occasion. I think it was... Broner never got past double figures in terms of shots landed in this fight. So it tells you that had that fight been close, they'd have tried to give that to Adrian Broner. And you're telling me that was an 8-4 fight? An 8-4, a fight scored 8 rounds to 1 is actually considered a pretty competitive fight. So Adrian Broner put up a pretty competitive, spirited fight, did he? I doubt it. In fact, I know it. I know what I was seeing. And that was basically as close to a shutout. But let's look at the history. Do you know Mikey Garcia's performance against Adrian Broner? 2 of the judges also gave that 8-4 as well for Adrian Broner. Never did Adrian Broner win 4 rounds against Mikey Garcia. So there's a pattern going on here that if Adrian Broner can keep things even remotely close, well, Vegas is going to try and favour him. But not even Vegas could save him in some of these fights, guys. Vegas could not save him against Manny Pacquiao. Vegas could not save him against Mikey Garcia. People are overlooking this controversy because Manny Pacquiao won. But let's face it, had Adrian Broner managed to win a few rounds, we'd have been screaming about negative headlines today about those judges. How on earth is an 8-4 fight when you've been, when you've basically landed 50 shots all fight? I mean, honestly. So, Floyd Mayweather was asked about the rematch when Manny Pacquiao basically challenged him in the ring. Floyd did not commit to it. Many people were predicting that he'd get in the ring and the announcement would be made. That wasn't the case. Should it happen? Well, personally, and I can understand it, if I'm Floyd, in a stylistic sense, I thought Manny would beat Floyd in 2015. Of course, it turned out the other way, right? If I'm Floyd, and until I see Floyd Mayweather beaten, I'm not really going to believe it. So I'm always sort of edging with Floyd Mayweather in a fight. Because I'm presuming he is still, to an extent, what he was. Excellent technician, great defensive boxer. We have to give him some credit. You know what I mean? So you'd be siding with Floyd, or the majority would, with that mindset in the rematch. But I know people that don't believe Floyd would win the rematch due to inactivity and not really fighting, decent opposition. Because for as much as people may laugh at an Adrian Broner, he is still a 4-division world champion. He is still a solid fighter, world-class fighter, not elite. Those are different things. You see, an elite fighter, like a Manny Pacquiao or a Mikey Garcia, can make a world-class fighter look bad. But he was still world-class, Adrian Broner. Floyd Mayweather has been fighting guys. Conor McGregor would be a D-level boxer. Tingen, what level would he be against a welterweight? Level F? You know what I'm saying? So a lot of people are going with Manny Pacquiao just because he is, the fresher of the two, having fought, the more compelling and competitive competition. So if I'm Floyd Mayweather, I'm thinking I'd stay. If I've got enough money, I would not bother with that rematch. I personally would maybe go with Floyd to win, but I am not counting out other people's predictions. In other words, I really don't know. I'm just guessing, right? If Floyd Mayweather's defense is a touch off, and you're only talking, split seconds, if the legs don't move quite as well as they did in 2015, if the reflexes and defense is not quite what it was in 2015, those shots that Floyd just about got away with, and looked spectacular doing it, avoiding the lefts and the rights, will land if those reflexes are slightly off. So therefore, if Floyd Mayweather comes in there slightly more flat-footed and the reflexes dim somewhat, you've got a shootout then. It's something to consider. Jesse Vargas, in the post-fight interviews at the MGM Grand, he seemed to be of the opinion that could happen. Because Floyd relies on a lot of mechanics, footwork, defense. As I said, the feet knit everything together. If one thing falls apart, he then becomes part of the queue. In other words, he can't jump the queue, to buy his product. He's in the queue with everybody else then. He has to wait his turn. He has to be in the pocket then and throw his punches. And he's not done that for a long time. I don't think Manny Pacquiao would be, disappointed at having that opportunity, to be honest with you. To be in there in a shootout. Let's see if my punches are better than yours. Now, of course, we may get a shock and Floyd Mayweather be absolutely great, going punch for punch. But it's a risk for him, isn't it? And again, he's not fought that way for a long time. But we did see Manny Pacquiao, when a guy was kind of flat-footed in front of him, looking the aggressor again against Lucas Matisse. Let me tell you something. Adrian Broner would have ended up like Lucas Matisse had Adrian Broner, forced his way forward, done this walking down stuff. Like all the analysis people were saying, he's got to walk Manny down. Good luck with that, right? Good luck with that. If he was trying to drive Manny Pacquiao down, he would meet a lot of head-on traffic in a collision with Manny Pacquiao. Didn't Brandon Rios. Now, I know Manny Pacquiao is an older fighter, but still. Adrian Broner looked the 40-year-old in that ring. Manny Pacquiao looked the 29-year-old. As I said, it was a rusty, maybe a rusty start, but he was still winning the early rounds. Once he warmed up and got into his groove, it was a darn easy fight to score. Adrian Broner after the fight behaved to many people, despicably. But he had to do that. His career was over if he didn't. He had to make something controversy-based after this fight. Why? Because that is Adrian Broner. He suddenly knew, I think it dawned on him, if I don't pull some sort of controversial rabbit out of the hat here, I'm going to struggle from now on. So all of this stuff gets the attention back on Adrian Broner when he says he thought he won. People are getting angry. He looks like a train wreck again, but people look at train wrecks. People like controversy. You see, this was the perfect build-up. Two sides of a different spectrum. Two things sell in boxing. The bad guy v. the good guy. Everybody buys tickets to see the bad guy. They want to see him lose. Everybody buys tickets to see the good guy. They want to see him win. WWE made a fortune over decades off this stuff. Generally speaking, the yin and the yang merge well. And it did. One of the great selling points of this whole promotion was this HUD stuff. Adrian Broner was making out that he'd had such a tough time and that Manny Pacquiao was somehow majorly privileged. In actual reality, the American HUDs are Beverly Hills and all the gold you can imagine compared with the HUDs back in the Philippines. It is a different world there. Western society, i.e. countries like America and the country I'm in, the ghettos there in the UK and the US are like royal palaces compared with the ghettos in the Philippines. And yet, Manny Pacquiao carried himself with such class in this fight, in this build-up, and he held his own in them early press conferences, trash-talking Adrian Broner. Go back and watch him. And that is hard to do against Adrian Broner. If there's one gift he does have, it's the gift of the gab. But Manny Pacquiao, he brought this part of his character into the fray. And a lot of people were surprised. I actually wasn't. Because again, in boxing, you're also an entertainer, not just a fighter. And these guys carry personas. Manny Pacquiao is the persona of class, the ability to rise from despair and hope. Adrian Broner is about creating division. That's just what he is. He's a guy that sort of upsets the apple cart. Not necessarily always in the ring, but outside the ring. His character does get on people's nerves. So therefore, they tune in. I don't think he's finished, Adrian Broner. People will want to see him lose every time he fights. So they'll go watch him just for that. And of course, he does have his fan base. Right? But he did lose this fight, clearly. I think he knows it. In the press conference after the match, Adrian Broner looks somewhat calmer. Very funny, that. Do I think Adrian Broner is as mad as he acts? Is he really just a guy behind the scenes manipulating things to create an image and constructing one? I think it's a combination of both. I think the guy does have a few issues, but I think he's aware that these issues help him become a commercial success. So he uses it. You know, his flaws are his strengths. Really. That's how he goes about it. The thing with Adrian Broner, though, and his fans is this. And it's more to do with his fans. He behaves that way because you buy it. Mike Tyson behaved in the way he did because the public bought it. Had he been ignored, he'd have had to have changed, wouldn't he? If Adrian Broner is ignored from now on, he will have to change. And you can change him. You see, in this world, nothing changes with your voices. It changes with your wallets. When you refuse to commit money to something, you'll get change. That company, that government, whatever it is, will change when you decide, no, I'm not spending no more money on it. Then it will alter. It will make adjustments. So Adrian Broner is going to be what he is until his ratings go down. We've seen it with Tyson Fury. He's changed his persona somewhat. And he's now a pay-per-view attraction. And he's getting big ratings for it. Adrian Broner fans know this. Your guy has achieved what many can only dream of in the sport of boxing. There are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of fighters that will never even win a world title. He's got 4 in 4 weight classes. One of the youngest to do that. A good, world-class, solid B-level fighter. But stop trying to live Adrian Broner's life as though he was Floyd Mayweather. Because he is not. He will never be Floyd Mayweather. You know, that ship has passed. That ship never was. People said, oh, the way Manny's beating him here, Adrian Broner just doesn't look the same as he used to be. He is the same as he used to be. I saw signs of this in the Polymal and Argy fight before Adrian Broner ever fought Chino Madonna. That was the same Broner then as what we saw against Manny Pacquiao. He is not a fighter on the decline. He just is what he is. He's got a certain specific set of skills, not trying to sound like Liam Neeson. But you know what I'm saying, and that is what it is. He is not going to turn into Floyd Mayweather, Roy Jones, or Jeff Horn overnight. The Broner we've seen against Manny Pacquiao, you'll see that in his next fight. It may be good enough to beat his next opponent because that opponent is a level below Manny Pacquiao. He is a good counter-puncher, but he's a pot shotter. He does have a good uppercut, but the guy in front of him has to be flat-footed enough to be in the pocket for him to throw it. There are good things about Adrian Broner. It's just not legendary stuff. I don't think particularly this guy's a future Hall of Famer, but he's a world-class fighter. But he could fight Mikey Garcia 10 times out of 10. He's got the remedy for Adrian Broner and would beat him. Pacquiao the same. Sean Porter the same, as long as he could keep that work rate up. Chino Madonna the same, as long as he could keep that work rate up. Of course, those guys slow down and, you know, there's a bit more trouble. But, of course, everybody, this is a classic saying, they all had a plan until they get hit and then they revert back to themselves. Adrian Broner in his next fight may come forward, take a punch, and here we are again. Probably one of my videos the next day saying he didn't throw enough punches. He's never thrown enough punches. He's only been able to do that when something is just, you know, statically in front of him. But Manny Pacquiao is not, and never will be that static, as long as he's in a boxing ring. So for me, it's the most complete victory over Adrian Broner. We didn't see the uppercut either like I predicted, but that was one of the few things. Or a knockdown. We got close to it in the 7th round. And the 9th when Adrian Broner, took a Superman fly across the ring when he took that left hand to the face. But pretty complete performance by Pacquiao. Performance of technicianship. Didn't have to bulldoze Adrian Broner. Just schooled him. This is Champions of Champions Boxing Talk. I'm out, brother.